First of all, I haven't been to a winter meeting since probably 2011. Prior to that, I've been 6 or 7 times, but as a manager, it's a little bit different. Obviously, we haven't had this, I think, in 2 or 3 years. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see everybody. The welcome has been really, really good. The feedback has been good, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Rick said you've already, I think you touched on this a little bit, you've already started kind of building bonds with players, talking to some players. How's that gone so far? And how many of you met with face-to-face or even by Zoom or whatever way you're connecting?
I've met with a couple face-to-face. I started this almost right at the day of the press conference. I think I spoke to a couple of them before the press conference. But as of right now, I maybe have 2 or 3 left. But they've been good dialogue. Some of them I've spoken to 3, 4 times. And it's been really good so far. And now our coaches are starting to reach out. So I've kind of backed off a little bit. I don't want to continue to bother these guys. These guys are in the off season, but I do want relationships to start with our coaches, so they're in the process of doing that now.
Was the message different or more specific than what you kind of shared with us at the winter meeting and your press conference, or was it basically the same kind of gist?
Same. I mean, we haven't gotten into expectations or anything like that, but we did get into some 2023 stuff. Without getting too deep into it, but it's been good conversations. I think everyone is excited. The coaching staff, the players, to get going and see if we can do something special.
What are players telling you that this team needs coming off of the missing points from last season?
We really didn't get into 2022. We just talked about what we need to do in 2023. So it was just a high-energy spring training. Just the work itself it's not going to be like, it's just going to be quality work, not quantity work. Get them in, get them out. Work hard, speed up the game a little bit, speed up the practices a little bit, and that's what we're going to focus on. We're in the process of putting that together as a staff. Eddie Rodriguez is probably going to run the majority of spring training. He's done it many years, so we're in the process now of putting that together and getting really creative with our drills, just to speed up the pace of our practices.
Along those lines, you've mentioned, and Rick has mentioned, pregame, so in-season pregame prep. How is it going to look? Is it something unique? Is it something different than what we've seen in baseball for 100 years?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's something unique, but it's not going to be something you see in baseball for 100 years. I think there's going to be it's a creativity thing. You might see something the first week, and then you won't see it again until June. It's just going to be on a individual basis and what they need. For example, Eddie Rodriguez used to do specific drills with Mike Moustakas. He did it every day. He didn't do it with the other guys, but he did it with him. So you'll see things happening, maybe in April that you won't see again till May, because he's just doing other things. But the creativity is going to be in full display when it comes to how we go about it.
Getting a guy like Charlie to be your bench coach with this experience in management, respect around the game, how important is that in terms of the staff hiring? How much of a resource?
He was a big key to this. And when I was looking for a bench coach, it was in the interview process. You're interviewing with all these teams, and you're trying to put a staff together. And I asked a buddy of mine if he had any names, and it just so happens that he gave me Charlie's name. And when he gave me Charlie's name, I was like, "That's the guy," And when I mentioned it to Rick, he was like, "That's the guy," So it almost happened simultaneously, to where we were both on board immediately, and we were able to get him done pretty quick. And I'm super excited to have him. He's been in the dugout for a long time. He's got managerial experience. And he's bilingual. He's versatile. He's going to be coordinating the base running, and really touching everything else. He's a very versatile coach.
Rick talked about your fresh eyes, how valuing your kind of insights and stuff, hiring outside organization. What kind of boost have you been having in these
The communication is it's really good, and Rick does a phenomenal job communicating with me and and our needs and what he's trying to do with his staff. We're in constant communication. We're here at the winter meetings, and things pop up and we discuss it. But again, they're doing their job right now. They're trying to assemble a roster, and obviously, we're in constant communication with that.
How would you size up the roster?
Excuse me.
How would you size up the roster?
It's a work in progress right now. We lost Abreu, obviously, and we're just trying to put a roster together that we feel is going to be able to compete for the Central.
You watched him for a number of years playing against Abreu. Obviously, with the roster configuration, it kind of makes sense that would happen for him. But what is it? How do you feel when you see Abreu, now playing for Houston, defending World Series champion, who you may be competing with at some point?
Abreu's a great player. I mean, he's done great things here in Chicago. Obviously, he'll be missed, of course, but we got to move on now. It's going to be next man up, and we're in the process of trying to assemble, a roster that, again, we feel like is going to be able to compete.
What do you think are the primary needs? What do you think still is?
Clevenger was a really good pickup for us. It rounds up our rotation. Needs per se, I think there's some versatility in this club, but we're in the process of going through that. Again, we want a faster pace club, athletic club. So, when it comes to specific needs, I don't think there's one. I think we're just looking at just building a better roster.
You kind of have that if some of the guys stay healthy from last year. I mean, the faster pace athletic, you have Tim Anderson.
Oh yeah.
Who just weren't healthy last year.
Yeah, they weren't healthy last year, and we're expecting them to kind of pick up their game a little bit when it comes to running the bases and doing some of the little things that are going to help us win baseball games.
You hear a lot that a manager's value is equated to players playing for that guy. You just want a guy who will play hard. What does that mean to you as a manager?
I think it's everything, really. When players want to get to the ballpark to play for each other and play for an organization and a manager and a staff, everything comes together. That enjoyment that players need to be able to perform on a daily basis and motivate themselves on a daily basis and be motivated by us, it's really important. So part of my job is to delegate to our staff, allow them to work, allow the players to be themselves, whatever that is, and obviously we'll have our rules here and there, but everybody's got to stay in between those lines. But for the most part, those lines are a little flexible. Go ahead and be yourself and enjoy the game. And when you get that type of environment, I think you're setting yourself up for pretty good things.
Do you think you can get the most out of Eloy if he's the DH most of the time, or where do you land on that at this point?
I haven't spoken to him about that. He's a huge part of this ball club, and there are very few guys in this game that just want to be a DH. I don't expect my conversations with him to be, hey, you're going to be a DH. He's like, oh yeah, great. He's not. Very few players are like that. Players want to play, and I'm assuming he's going to want to do the same thing. So he's going to prepare to play the outfield. Obviously, the DH role is a role that he can fill as well, but we got to get him ready in spring training to be able to play some defense as well.
Hey, Carol, for you, just how would you describe what the swing was like being part of the process and going through the process in the city to coming here and accept this position and settling into your role?
Well, obviously, my time in Kansas City was memorable. We did some really nice things over there. Going through the process, with the Marlins and here and in Kansas City, after I was done with all, I was able to reflect. I feel like this is a perfect spot for me. This is a really good ball club, really good people. It felt like family right away. I know you've heard Rick talk about that, and I felt the same way, from day one. I remember my wife asking me how to go, and I said, it felt a little different. I think I've gone through like 7 interviews, and this one just felt a little different. It felt like family right away. It felt like we connected. So I'm grateful, and I'm excited for this opportunity. It was emotional, and not just with him. I mean, obviously he's like my son. I mean, I've had him for 10 years, and you've heard him speak on that relationship. But guys like Dozier and Nicky Lopez, and even Alex Gordon that's not there. I mean, of course, there's a lot of really good friendships built over time, and but it's time to move on. This is the way the game is, right? We're not gone. We're great friends, and now we're going to compete against each other. But it's time to move on and do something else, in another place, and that's here in Chicago.
What are your impressions of watching Luis Robert, the potential he really has, when you're facing him, now the conversations he's going to have with you about maybe how he's preparing for 2023 after physically difficult?
Yeah. My first impression on Luis was this guy's an MVP candidate. That's when I first laid eyes on him, and then watching him patrol center field in Kauffman Stadium and what he was able to do. I hadn't seen somebody do that since really Lorenzo Cain and Michael Taylor. And then you watch him hit, and he's hitting balls, 115, 118 miles an hour, and he's plus runner. There's nothing on the baseball field he can't do. You just got to keep him healthy. You got to keep him healthy. My conversations with him this offseason have been really good. I went and visited him. Jose Castro went with me. Mike Tozar went with me. His family was there, so we were able to spend some quality time with him. He's excited to get going. He's in the process of getting healthy. He feels great. So we're looking for big things from him this year. I have met with him. I've spoken to him probably 3 or 4 times as well. I saw him, the day after the press conference. He's got a good mind. He's extremely creative. He's always looking to get better. He's always looking for things to help our club get better. He feels good. He's healthy. And again, we got to get him going. He's motivated too. So that's a good thing. You got players with his type of ability that are motivated. To have a comeback year, it's a really good thing. You know what? It's not. And the reason I say that, because I've coordinated camps before during the WBC, and most of the players that go to the WBC are everyday players. You're just given an opportunity. Those guys are going to get ready, and they're going to go play really good baseball. You're just giving some other guys an opportunity to, showcase themselves in spring training, and you never know. Somebody might make a team, or somebody might impress to a point where, something happens during the year. We have a really good idea of what he can do. This particular player can do in the big leagues. So it's just really the next man up while we watch those guys compete for something they love.
How can that benefit a guy like Robert Moncada? How can that be a benefit to experience that play?
They got to be ready to go, right? You're talking beginning of March. They have to be ready to go. That's the big stage, right? They're playing for something that doesn't happen, every year. It happens every 4 years. This will be the first time that, if it does happen, this will be the first time that, they can go back and play for Team Cuba. And I just think that, these guys, they're not taking that lightly. Their preparation right now is geared to, I got to be ready to go come beginning of March, and they can carry that. They'll just carry that right on to beginning of the season for us. Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. The pressure's real in WBC. It's real. I think. Obviously, I live in Miami, and I think that stadium's sold out. There's not a ticket to be had there, and you can't even get tickets for family to go in. So it's real pressure. It's good baseball, and you're going to see some excitement there. So we have guys that are playing in the WBC. Hey, they know they got to be ready to play. They're on the big stage.
When you're talking to Rick, talking about potential moves, do you have Rick come with a lot of input, or you kind of play back and see how they work, or how you kind of
I just answer questions when they ask me. I just, it's a different eye, different look from the outside coming in. But again, I'm the manager here, and we got a really good front office that knows what they're doing and know how to assemble clubs, and I'm completely confident that when it comes time, we're going to have a nice roster to work with.
Hola, ¿qué tal mi gente? Nosotros somos Sin Fronteras y queremos invitarte a que te quedes con la máquina deportiva. Sí, sí, sí.